wonder if Kagero even knows that I'm watching him. I've made sure to conceal myself well, and there is no finer sneaky... I just remembered I have to go... Hello, ladies and gentlemen, hunters all. Today is a very exciting day, but it's also a very sad day. Sad for the story that I'm about to share. Exciting for the implications that it does bear. So recently, Monster Hunter released this absolute gem of a bit of lore. It concerns Yomogi, who we soon find out and confirm to be is Princess Yomogi, and Kagero, her loyal protector, both from a now ruined kingdom. This is Kagero, and this is Yomogi's parents, and the baby be Yomogi. That symbol emblazoned on her blanket is the symbol of the kingdom that she is from, and indeed the same symbol that the tea shop bears. We'll get to that, though. For now, let's understand what happened to Tsukito City. My apologies for the sudden letter. I have taken up my brush today, as I believe it is finally time to tell you of the end of Tsukito City, my place of birth. You may be wondering, why tell me this now? And I do apologize for bringing this upon you, but there has never been a time where it has not been on my mind to tell you this. Thanks to our courageous, fierce flame, Kamura village has been freed from the rampage's clutches, and Magnamalo has been vanquished. I have secretly been keeping an eye on you during these events, and to my pleasure I have watched you grow into a wonderful young adult that you are today. That is why I felt compelled to write you. As you are aware, I do not hail from Kamura village. I was born in a city called Tsukito. I was a hunter there, and a retainer to the royal family, having pledged my loyalty to the Empress. The Empress had ascended the throne at a mere 14 years old after her father passed away. From the point of view of a wyverian like myself, this seemed a very grave burden to place upon such small shoulders, so I made sure to support her, like I supported those before her, ready and willing to exert myself to the utmost if need be. The Empress grew into a formidable stateswoman, and when she turned 20 years old, she fell in love with a handsome and kind-hearted young nobleman from the neighboring country, and it wasn't long until they wed. Before the ceremony, the Empress approached me and stated that she would like me to fulfill the role of her late father, an honor that felt far beyond anything I deserved. I still clearly recall shedding many a tear, of happiness or of sadness, who could say, when I saw her in her wedding attire. Having served the family for many years, I truly felt like her father at that moment. Not long after, the Empress gave birth to a baby girl. This girl, who would be the next Empress, was the most beautiful child I had ever laid my eyes on. When the Empress kindly let me hold the child, and I saw her smiling up at me with those radiant eyes, my emotions got the best of me, despite my age, and I cried a veritable waterfall of tears. Truly, the most wonderful time of my life. Until, when the princess was a mere 2 months old, fate had a dark day in store for us. Out of nothing, clouds dark as coal and cold as steel gathered overhead, plunging the city into darkness. And like that, a gentle morning became bitter night. The great calamity was upon us. A fearsome serpent had appeared in the skies, gliding majestically in the air as if some deity had manifested. Yet, the storms raised by its elegant dance rained down destruction upon the city. So I quickly made for the Empress's quarters to see if she and the princess were all right. To my dismay, the building had already collapsed, leaving the Empress gravely injured. Quickly, take the child and flee from this place. You must protect her at all costs. She entrusted the princess to me, and before long the calamity consumed the city. Curse that foul serpent. As the city and the Empress with it were reduced to ashes, pure rage coursed through my veins, and just as I was about to throw my life away in a desperate attempt to confront it, the princess in my arms stroked my cheek and smiled at me again like she did on the day she was born. I had to protect that smile. It was the final task the Empress had given me. I turned away from the city and ran. The ruthless serpent came after me, and the monsters around it, as if whipped into a frenzy by the serpent, attacked as well. Monster attack after monster attack, rending my flesh and breaking my bones, but I held them at bay with my sword, even as I felt my life slowly drain away. I didn't care if my body was torn apart as long as I could defend the precious child I had clutched against my chest. I don't remember how long I kept running. Oh dear, look at those wounds! Minoto, go get the doctor! Hurry! Look, he's holding a baby, Hinoa. He must have protected the girl with his life. She's completely unharmed. We must save him. Having finally arrived at a village, I lay down and slipped into a long sleep, feeling happy and relieved that I had been able to save the princess. I had somehow managed to stave off death. I decided to discard my old name from the city and adopted a new name, Kagero. Now I live a peaceful life here in Kamura, my second home, watching over you, princess. Or should I say, Lady Yomogi. I deeply apologize. This is a painful truth. I've wondered countless times whether it is even necessary to tell you at all. However, when I think of your mother and father and how much they loved you and how much they would have continued to love you if fate hadn't deprived them of that chance, I feel you deserve to know this. Consider this letter my final service as a retainer to the royal family. Your family. One final note. The crest that adorns your tea shop is based upon the crest embroidered on the cloth you were wrapped in as a baby. It's the emblem of Tsukito City. It depicts a rabbit living on the moon, the guardian deity of the city. Around it are cherry blossoms, the symbol of Kamura village, enveloping the crest as if to protect it. It reflects the resolve of Elder Fugan, Master Hojo, Lady Hinoa, and Lady Minoto to protect you as part of the Kamura family. This is where you belong, Lady Yomogi. The villagers have always protected you and raised you like their own. However, you mustn't forget that you have another home far away, and that you had a mother and father who loved you with all of their hearts. To my dearest friend Todori, I am considering to send the above correspondence to our beloved princess, but I find it hard to gather the courage. I would like to discuss this matter with you when we next meet again in Kamura village. I look forward to seeing you again, my old compatriot.
It's a terrible day for rain.
Firstly, wow, that is the kind of storytelling that I love to see in Monster Hunter and would love to see it represented in game. And maybe it still will. Secondly, how tragic, poetic, and powerful. Kagero being a protector of the royal family, it being destroyed by some mysterious monster or calamity, managing to bundle away the Princess Yomogi to Kamura village. It really is just, okay, at least it turned out alright in the end, I suppose, as much as it could be. So it turns out Princess Chiche is not the only princess in Monster Hunter Rise and Sunbreak, and we long suspected that Yomogi was a secret princess of faraway land. That was rumoured from the cat, and it's nice to have it all formalised into what actually happened, who involved, how, where, and why. But of course, there is details in here that are terribly interesting, that are just begging to be read into and theorized, and, well, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Because honestly, it is a weird time to release something like this, unless perhaps it is a quite coded hint at something in the future. Title Update 3, and then potentially 4, 5, 6, however many we get, obviously has more monsters to bring us, and I imagine there has to be at least a new monster, either a completely original creation or a new returning monster, i.e. not a version of something we already have. So could this hint towards it? Maybe.
Maybe.
So, from the story, what are the facts that we know? We know it's a monster referred to as a serpent dancing on the wind. We know it's referred to as a great calamity. We know it can summon storms of great apocalyptic power. We know it can change the behavior of monsters around it. We know that it destroyed an entire city by itself. And we know that it is being talked about now that the rampage has been quelled, finished, Nawa and Ibushi ended. And of course, Nawa and Ibushi is the instinct here, right? You kind of initially go, okay, obviously it's just talking about, Nara Ibushi. Clearly a rampage wiped out Sukoto City, so, what happened to Kamura in Base Rise was quite the, oh my god, it's happening again for both Kagero and unknowingly Yomogi, but hey, we stopped it, giving revenge to Yomogi's parents, justice for Kagero and what he lost and what he carries. But, hold on a second, bear with me here. The rampage happens every 50 years. Yomogi, last time I checked, is not over 50 years old. I could be. Okay, I don't know why I did that. That was weird, even for me. And of course, we know that this happened when Yomogi was 2 months old. It's not been 50 years, which already makes it a bit. Actually, that's a good. There shouldn't be a rampage happening. And on top of that, every descriptive factor of what has happened and what caused it, I think, is definitely deliberately a subtle double-up. Because, again, instinctively you think Ibushi, Anawa, and Rampage, but every detail also applies to a certain other monster. AMATSU. It is a winged serpent that dances elegantly. It is referred to as a heavenly dragon, a god manifested. It can summon storms calamitous that destroy everything. It threatens to destroy Yukumo village in the 3rd generation. That was a key plot point the village chief was concerned about. And when you think about it, Ibushi doesn't really create calamitous storms. He uses dragon energy to affect wind currents, yes, but he doesn't cause lashing rain and thunderous lightning. He doesn't create apocalyptic weather, which this story is certainly describing, and apocalyptic weather is certainly AMATSU's playbook whenever something has ticked it off and it wants to claim its territory, as it did the Sacred Pinnacle. And it has also been known, AMATSU, as the Great Calamity. Calamity gets thrown around often in Monster Hunter. The Rampage's Calamity. Gaizmagon and the Curio was named the Calamity. But the Great Calamity? That's something that AMATSU holds. And you may think, but what about the monsters going crazy? That's definitely not an AMATSU thing. That's gotta be, like, Rampage shenanigans, right? Well, technically you are correct. However, the one symptom of AMATSU's previous canon appearance was forcing the discovery of Zenogre by driving them all off their mountain Misty Peaks home due to its presence, its storms, and its fury. This caused them all to behave irrationally and start attacking travelers on the nearby roads and threatening the villages. If that's not sending nearby monsters into a uncharacteristic frenzy in the most, well, technically a sense, I don't know what is. So while I grant you that's the loosest fit, I also would say fit it still does. And the thing is, outside of this all kind of really only applying to either Ibushi or AMATSU, with the tiebreaker for me being the timeline of the story doesn't make sense for another Rampage encounter. We also have how fitting it would be to finally get AMATSU, a monster we all think would have fit wonderfully in Base Rise, as an update in Sunbreak, to actually bring full circle the story of Yomogi and Kagero. Surely they would have lines, surely they'd be in cutscenes, surely it would be a big deal, especially for Kagero, as he recounts what happened, and oh my god, it's happening again, but this time we, the hunter, are here to help and to stop Yomogi's new home and new family being destroyed a second time. It's poetic, and it certainly works. It also gives us an excuse to get a new map to face AMATSU on, the ruins of Sukoto City. That would be a nice little touch too. And of course, Nara and Ibushi already exist, so adapting their skeleton to AMATSU, I imagine, is also going to be a simpler process than an entirely new skeleton for an entirely different returning monster, or indeed an entirely new monster. Having a modernized, absolutely turned up to 11 ridiculous AMATSU would be unbelievably cool. It's a fantastic choice. It is an incredibly popular Elder Dragon, but it's incredibly powerful. Its fight is incredibly unique, it's one hell of a Leviathan, and certainly fits the description as a climactic big end boss of Monster Hunter. It is definitely something that I think no one would complain as a sort of climax for perhaps the final title update of Sunbreak, or at least a significant one. And then I think past all of this evidence, both in the description of the story, how thematic it would be, how practical for the developers it would be, and how worthy it would be to us players to get a legendary monster like that, the final little thing for me is obviously AMATSU is in Frontier. But it is not normal AMATSU, it is an exotic AMATSU that has a new form. It goes electric blue and deepest crimson red, gains the dragon element in full, and is absolutely insanely cool. It's got an amazing new array of attacks, dragon fused into the water, and it just really pops. It's such a wonderful fight, and one of the best, in my opinion, designs and realizations in the entirety of Frontier. So taking that extra pinch of Frontier, which we have been getting with Espinas and Flaming Espinas, upgrading AMATSU in a way that is new to, well, nearly literally everyone, because most people haven't heard about this AMATSU in Frontier, never mind played it themselves, so it has that wow new factor for most of the Hunter player base, while still technically being returning and having a template to build from. I just think it is utterly perfect. All laid the groundwork of this story that if it eventually happens, we go, oh, that was a totally hit. Oh, Monster, you slider. Oh, when Kagero gets involved and hints in game at this occurrence. I mean, yeah, I am all for it, and I honestly think it so exceptionally works on every level and angle I can think of. And yes, I might just be being optimistic. I might just be a little bit, oh, I want it though, come on, AMATSU is awesome. But I do think there is certainly evidence here to support a theory that, hey, out of all the monsters that exist, I would put AMATSU near the top of the list of likely candidates for a title update monster that isn't a new version of a monster already in the game. But, again, I have been wrong before. I've been right before, too. I predicted All Mother Nawa, so that was quite fun. But, in the end, we will see what happens. Whatever we get, it's going to be awesome. But, hey, this story, I couldn't help but feel inspired. As soon as I read it, I was like, AMATSU? And I wanted to share those thoughts and reasons why with you guys. I love doing little lore theory hybrids, and this video, honestly, was so much fun to make. Let me know what you think, and, well, we'll see what time doth bring. Like if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more, consider supporting the future channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.